Hi, everyone. Welcome to 3 Minutes in the Loop, the bite-sized video series where you can stock up on the latest supply chain insights, strategies, and news in the time it takes to get your caffeine fix. I'm your host, Mary Vasili, and today we're covering 3 supply chain fundamentals to help manage uncertainty. Our special guest is George Fowler, Chief Technology Officer and Senior Vice President of Planning and Omnichannel at Spinnaker. George, welcome to 3 Minutes in the Loop.
Hi, Mary. It's a pleasure to be here.
We're very glad to have you. So the list of supply chain challenges seems to be growing exponentially. Can you explain to our viewers why supply chain fundamentals are so important in mitigating risk and managing uncertainty?
Well, Mary, it's important to understand the very first fundamental, which is understanding the broader structure of your entire supply chain. It's really easy to understand the immediate suppliers and customers that a particular company has, but you can't ignore the entire supply chain. As an example, you really need to understand who your suppliers are and who your customers are so that you can take into account the variety of risk that poses to your own supply chain. As an example, during the pandemic, companies have taken steps to understand their entire supply chain, were able to digest the regional difficulties that were happening as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, and they were able to adjust accordingly to changes in demand or changes in supply and build a more resilient supply chain.
That's a great explanation. Thank you. And we see now that it's certainly more crucial than ever for supply chain professionals to assess the potential weak points in their extended supply chain.
That's exactly right. That really goes into the discussion I was just having about resiliency. One of the more important fundamentals is really using tools that allow you to go beyond planning and look at your network as a whole, like network design products. They give you the ability to give visibility and run scenarios on weak points and actually take into account trade-offs, not just with cost, but other trade-offs in terms of resiliency and pinch points within your network to ensure that when things happen, that you have alternative sources of supply or alternative ways to distribute your products. One of the things that we've looked at is helping companies to evaluate alternative supply sourcing, alternative places to secure their materials, and then using these design tools to do classical analysis or that will help you to minimize risk and manage your costs.
Okay, so George, tell us how all of this then affects supply and demand.
Well, ultimately, what we're doing here is helping to mitigate disruption. So things happen, whether it's a weather event, whether it's storms, whether it's interruptions to supply, it really helps you to pay attention to what's going on around you, some of the macroeconomic trends and so on, and come up with alternative ways to manage your supply chain. It's really building in agility and resilience into your supply chain. As an example, you can do scenario analysis, like much as what's done within a S&OP process to really come up with incredibly powerful analytics that help you to understand the impact from a dollars and cents perspective, but also to build out alternatives that will help to shape your business as you move forward. And then one of the other elements that's really important is, doing the demand shaping. So understanding your customers and how they are affected by disruptions and then manage there. And then, of course, there are also things that happen that will affect your overall ability to operate your business, like shortages and so on. And having a bit of an alternative source of supply or resilient transformational kind of infrastructure really helps companies to move past those types of interruptions.
Great. Well, folks, you heard it here. 3 critical supply chain fundamentals for managing risk and uncertainty. Thank you for those insights, George, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. Now you're in the loop. See you next time.